Words matter. That's what we're talking about
That's what we're
today.
talking about. Words matter.
Words matter.
Words matter. Oh, thank God. I thought we were going to hear from your talking vagina again.
So I have a story I'm really ashamed of, but maybe if I tell it, I won't feel so ashamed.
Okay, go, do.
Okay, I was at a family function at someone's home, and
always when you're at somebody's home.
yes, and it was God, I was in my mid-20s, and
she was very sassy back then.
I'm still sassy.
I know.
So one of my cousins did a little dance at another family function, and it was like in a kind of a cafeteria or something, but they played music. It was like stuff you do in a recital. She was real little, and she was sitting next to me. We're watching it. It was a bizarre kind of situation. So when she was done, and she was very, very good, I said, well, you'll never do that again. What a horrible fucking thing to say to a child.
Do they remember?
I could only pray they don't.
Let's call. We could do.
And she's such a good person. And I actually really like her a lot.
Well, things stick with me too from when I was a kid, which is why I asked. And I remember when I was in high school.
Go on.
And I had was being inducted into the National Honor Society. Yay!
My parents would have had erected a statue if I got in the National Honor Society.
So at the reception, my dad, who's very much an old school Italian dude, was talking to my guidance counselor, also old school Italian dude, and I think Mr. DeSillo said, hey, congrats, for Angie, and my dad goes, I got 4 boys, and who makes it into this thing? And I'm like,
aw, Daddy.
Now, you could look at it 2 ways, I guess, but it was like, always with the boys, old school Italian shit, right?
Wow, so
it was
wasn't
like,
really honoring this amazing thing.
Right. It couldn't have just said, I know my daughter's smart or whatever it was. It was like, no, you always had to drag the boys into it.
Aww.
You would think after all this time, that was how many years ago? 40 some years ago, that I'd let go of little shit like that. But no, I did not. Yeah. But words matter.
Words matter.
They do.
Another time when I was, I broke my back and I was learning to walk again. I was paralyzed from the waist down, but as I got better, the rods of my back moved, so you could see 2 bumps in my back, and it was horrible. And I was waiting to get surgery, but I started getting sicker and sicker, so I used a catheter, so I was getting bladder infections, and then it was getting worse, and my body was kind of shutting down or something, and it was kidney infections, and I got asthma, which I never had, bronchitis, so it was every month. So one of my friends called me who worked, and she said, what are you doing? I said, laying down. And she said, it was in the middle of the day. And she said, I wonder what would happen if I were to lay down every time I was tired. So after we said a few pleasantries and we hung up, I said, well, I mean, she never heard this. I said, maybe it wouldn't be such a bitch.
What did she say to you?
She said, She said, I wonder what would happen if I were to lay down every time I was tired.
I can't believe she said that to you.
How about this? When I was 7,
yeah,
I'm Lebanese, and so
Well, we're sick of hearing that you're Lebanese.
I know, it's because it matters in everything. I was a very fuzzy, hairy little girl. So so the only person on our street that had a pool was crazy, literally crazy, Mrs. Long. Like, she was truly nuts, but she had the built-in pool.
Yeah.
So who cares?
So, you put up with some crazy.
Yeah. And so my hairy legs and my hairy arms and fuzzy everything. And she said to me one day,
You're hairy like a monkey.
Oh, God.
Like a monkey.
and she kept walking.
So I have a similar story. So when we were little, and it's another hairy arm story. when we were really little, we
I
lived
threw
next
poop at
door
her.
to these great. Did you really? When you
That's
a
what monkeys do.
Yeah. So, the gals that lived next door to us who would occasionally babysit us, one was Cassie and one was Nikki. Stunning girls. But at any rate, my brother Marty had no filter. And I think he might have been like 6 or 7. And Cassie came over and she was coming to see if she could borrow our vacuum cleaner. And Marty, in 2 sentences, just destroyed. He went like this. Wow, your arms are really hairy.
Oh my God.
And Cassie kind of went like that. And then he goes, and my mom says you guys break the vacuum every time you borrow it.
Oh.
It's like,
Hey, you know what though? Think about this.
but I mean, at least he was just a little 7-year-old kid, right?
Yeah, but if you
and
wanna,
not a crazy old
you want to
lady.
keep from having to loan your crap out, get that kid to say stuff. Like,
Yeah.
If my
Yeah.
mom says you break the
Yeah.
that's a problem. If parents say stuff in front of their children, forget it. You're
Your
screwed.
words matter because those children will repeat it.
Who invited you?
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I'm
You
gonna,
can stay.
no, it's all right. My parole officer's calling me. I'm right there. I'll put those cuffs away for God's sake. You haven't needed those for years.